नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः यश्छन्दसा वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया आस्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवं ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिवा कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिवा ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगुं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इत्युक्तशङ्कोर्वेदानुवचनम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः आप्यायन्तु मम अङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्च श्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य मानि ईस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनादितेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः भद्रं नो अपि वातय मनः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तगुंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं Mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyanat Manimayaya Bahirivot Bhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaitam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Bijasyantarivānkuro jagadidam prang nirvikalpam punaha maya kalpita desha kala kalana vaichitrya chitri kritam maya viva vijrambhayatyapi maha yogi vayasvechaya tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye namaitam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Yasyaiva spuranam sadatmakam asatkalparthakam bhasate sakshat tattvamasiti veda vachasa yo bodhayatyashritan yat sakshat karanat bhavenna punaravrittir bhavam bho nidhau tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye namaitam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Nana Chidra Ghatodhara Sthita Mahadipa Prabhabhaswaram Jnanam Yasya Tu Chakshuradi Karana Dvara Bahispandate Janami Titameva Bhantam Anubhatye Tat Samastam Jagat Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaitam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Deham pranamapindriyanapi chalam buddhim cha shunyam viduhu stri balanda jadopastvamamahiti bhranta bhritam bhrisham vadinaha maya shakti vilasa kalpita mahavyamoha samharine tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. I didn't read the couple of other ones. I'm not used to doing that, so I'm still getting used to it. So let's finish that. Narayanam Padma Bhuvam Vasishtam Shaktim cha Tatputra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gauda Padam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Mathasya Shishyam Shri Shankaracharya Mathasya Padmapadam cha Hastamalakam cha Shishyam Tam Totakam Vartikakaramanyaan Guru Asmad Gurun Santatamanatosmi. Okay. So last week we had started to do meditation, which got interrupted by some technical problem. I'm still not sure exactly what happened. So I think what we will do is to complete that meditation today, and then we will continue on with the more word for word commentary. Now I wouldn't say word for word, but sentence by sentence translation of the Shankara Bhashya, Adhyasa Bhashya. And I think what I'm thinking is that we won't do all of the sentence by sentence Adhyasa Bhashya, but we will get a little bit more sense of how it is done. And the reason for that is that primarily I'm following the structure of Swami Paramarthananda ji, as I've mentioned that before. And we've already covered the Adhyasa Bhashya. So this one is just to underscore the bhashya exactly how it is done on a grammatical standpoint. But conceptually we've already covered it. So I think I'll go a little bit more into the grammatical translation for a while, perhaps even end today or maybe one more time. And then I think we will go to the first sutra after that. So having said that, you may remember that I am departing from the way Swami Paramarthananda is teaching these Brahma Sutra a little bit, in the sense that he does not pause to give any direct knowledge that is derived from the Upanishads, nor to my knowledge in this course he has done it in a meditation format as well. So I thought that I would add those two functions as part of the review. So what that means is that instead of just going straight away from a logical standpoint, we will pause from time to time to reflect upon the Shravanam also. Not just the Mananam, but the Shravanam also. And certainly the plan to have the Dakshinamurti Stotram, all the 10 verses, be explained are very much in my mind. I haven't started doing that. I will. But in the meantime, we just happen to make a reference to this mantra from Ishavasya Upanishad that I mentioned last week, and or a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was. So I think what we will do is spend a little bit more time on the meditation today with that mantra in mind. I won't have time to explain the entire Shankara Bhashya and some of the tikas that were on that mantra, but we will bring it in as part of the meditation today. So this will be a kind of like a Shravanam, if you may. Shravanam in the sense of pointing out what the thought concepts are before you start to reflect upon them. So I think I will do that. So just to underscore before we go into the meditation, as you know, this is from the Ishavasya Upanishad, the 15th verse, 15th mantra of Ishavasya. And it goes, Hiranmayena patrena satyasya apihitam mukham tattvam pushan apavrinu satya dharmaya drishtaye. This is the mantra. And so the portion of it that, the meaning of that is that, hey Ishvara, your face, mukham, your face, which is the Aditya Mandalaha, which is really present everywhere, your reality, your face is present everywhere. So here the word mukham is an interesting one. I'm just going a little bit more, forgive me for spending some time on this. So mukham is an interesting word, and so this happens in the Purusha Suktam also. Mukham kimasya kim bahu. What is the face of it? So here Swami Maheshanji had pointed out that if you look at a person, it is uniquely identified by a structure of the face. So for example, if you give pictures of somebody's hands, or the back, or the torso, you're not going to be able to find out who the person is. They all kind of look alike and they're not unique. But the face, is something that brings out the uniqueness of it. So here the Mukham, Aditya Mandalasya Mukham, means that face of Ishvara, which is something unique. It is unique because you find that that face is the one which is present in the entire cosmos. Every person that you look at is really the reflection of that Brahman. So the Brahma's face is the Ishavasyam. It is all over the world. Where is it not? This is the problem we have. We keep looking for Ishvara and Bhagwan and so on, but we don't know where is it not? It's everywhere. And how is it there everywhere? Because Satyasya Mukham. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Maybe we'll do a little bit of that in the meditation also, so you will see that. So the fact that the Sakshi, which is the nature of Satyam Jnanam Anantam, is present in everything. This I am missing. And how am I missing? Because I am totally involved in my identification with my jivatvam, as myself as a living person. And that is why it is said this is hiranyamayena patrena apihitam. So the mukham of Ishvara, the presence of Ishvara all over the place, including me, is hidden by my identification with my own body-mind complex. And this is what one of the Tikakara had said. I thought it was in the Shankara Bhashya, but once it was asked by one of the students, I looked into it, and this was presented by the Swami in Kailash Ashram. He says that all other patras can be dissolved, but the golden patra is very difficult to dissolve. Only gold can they be there for a number of years, and the deterioration is hardly any at all. Difficult to dislodge. So I have something which is hiding the mukham of Ishvara from me, and what it is my own jiva. Well, this is the meaning of the mantra. So I thought we will do the meditation today on this theme. I'm not saying exclusively on this theme, but we'll bring this out. So we will do that. So let us do the meditation. I am not quite sure what happened last week. One concern I have is it's very possible, and I'm going to talk to both Chandra and Raj, that if during the meditation there is complete silence for a while, and somehow it turns itself off. I don't know if this is true or not, but it might happen. But I would appreciate you letting me know. In fact, let me make sure that I have my phone on. Okay, so it is on. So with that, I hope that doesn't happen. We are able to complete the meditation. So let us do a meditation. Pratarsmarami Hridi Samspuradatmatattvam Satchit Sukham Paramaham Sagatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptam Abhaiti Nityam Tad Brahmanishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha. Nididhyasanam, meditation, Vedantic meditation, should be understood to be a focus on the truth such that our minds preoccupation with the untruth is removed. Even though the conscious Atma the Atma, which is in the nature of consciousness, does illuminate all aspects of the mind, including preoccupation with the untruth, but if I'm able to focus on the truth by the mind, then the same Atma removes the mind's confusion. It is very much like, even though the sun falls on various objects, illuminates them, but if the sunlight can be focused sharply into a single object, the same sunlight can burn that object away. This is the logic of Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam, as being distinct from Dhyanam, a general meditation, has one other characteristic that sets it apart. Nididhyasanam, or a Vedantic meditation, is in the form of a prayer. It is in the form of a prayer to Ishvara. The reason and the importance of this aspect of the Nididhyasanam is to ask for Ishvara's help and participation to make my focus on the truth successful. It is said in Vedanta Shastra that my firm preoccupation with myself as a body-mind complex is so rooted, as explained by Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Apihitam Mukham. It is so rooted that it is difficult to dislodge without the help of Ishvara. Can be seen in the form of the twin effects of pulling and pushing. If something is stuck, sometimes mere pulling or mere pushing is not able to dislodge it. Similarly, a Nididhyasanam in the form of a prayer should be done, asking Ishvara to pull this patra away, while I also am committed to push it out of the way. So with that, let us start today's meditation. Hey Bhagavan, O Ishvara, help me to see where my confusion is. Reveal the truth of myself to me. The truth of myself is revealed to me by the words, Ishvara's words, in the form of the Shastra, the spiritual teaching. It says, there are two vastus that are all mixed up together. One is the original, and the other one is a copy. The original which is in the form of Ishvara, Brahman to be even more precise, the very content of Ishvara. This original truth should be seen by me in the form of Satyam Jnanam Anantam. It always is. Never leaving its own Swarupa. Never. Not possible. Not a million years ago, not now, never in the future. In the form of consciousness, Chetana Vastu, the same as knowledge. I am. I am. I know. I know. And without any ends. Anantam. This original Vastu is Brahman, and that in fact is me. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Sat Chit Ananda. This is the substratum, the content, the Swarupa of the entire world, including me. This is the original Vastu. The second Vastu is the same original Vastu, but in the form of a copy, a reflection, an expression. This Vastu the copy, the reflection, the expression is me, the Jiva. Not only me, the Jiva, but all other living and non-living being in the world. Very much like it is the same water of the ocean, but a given wave is an expression of the water. O Ishvara, please make this very clear to me. You as Brahman is me, the original Vastu. Timeless, immortal, was me before I took this birth, and even during this life. never changing. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And my copy the vastu, which is a copy, which is a reflection, works as an appliance. It works as an appliance because it borrows the Satyam Jnanam Anantam of the original Vastu. And it turns into a limited Vastu. It reflects Satyam, but in a limited way. I am now. I was not there before this birth, and I am sure to disappear. My knowledge also keeps on changing. So the Satyam in the copy is modified. The Jnanam is also modified. Anantam, of course, is modified. From timelessness of the original, the time-boundness of the copy is very clear to me. O Ishvara, you, the original, unchanging, common substratum of me and everyone else, is hidden from me. May I get your help in reducing and eliminating my preoccupation with the copy. I recognize it is not easy. But for my sake, may you remind me to remove this covering live a life of not asking for anything else, but primarily focusing on recognizing you as my underlying reality and removing this cover of darkness in the form of preoccupation with the identification of the body and mind. May I revisit this and ask for your help again and again. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so let us continue on with the translation of the Adhyasa Bhashya, and we will do a little bit more. What time is it? (8:48). Okay. So we have plenty of time, we have half hour. So last week we had done the first sentence, Yushmad Asmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho, etc. We have done that, all of that. So let's look at the second sentence, which starts with Tathapi Anyonyasmin Anyonya Atmakatam Anyonya Dharmascha Adhyasasya Itera Avivekena Atyant Viviktayoho Dharma Dharminoho Mithya Jnanam Nimittaha Satya Anrita Mithruni Kritya Ahamidam Mama Idam Iti Naisargikaha Ayam Loka Vyavaharaha. So this is a sentence which says that we are mixing up two things that are impossible to mix up, but we are still doing it. So it's kind of like a, you say it is impossible, but I'm making it possible. In fact, all our acharyas have said this is the characteristic of Maya Shakti, of ignorance. It's called Aghatita Ghatanam Patiyasi Maya. This is a very important definition. Maya has so many different definitions. Yama Sa Maya. This is another very beautiful definition, very simple. Yama Saya Maya. So this is the Nirukta. This is how the combination of words and letters can be done in Sanskritam. So Yama means one which cannot be done, it does. Aghatita ghatanam patiyasi maya. Patiyasi maya means it has the power. It has the power to do things that are impossible. Aghatita. It has not happened at all, but it makes it possible. And I think one thing we should really, and I've already said this before, so maybe I'm repeating myself, is that we should not look upon Maya as something external to me. You know, we look at this definition of Ghatita, Maya, etc. We say, oh, that's interesting. Where is it? I do it every day, every night. So my understanding of my own power to delude myself should be appreciated. This is an important thing. This is part of really getting ownership. So, as Swami Dayanandji, he was so fond of doing this. He says, you are the problem and you are the solution. No one else is the problem. My mind is the one that really creates the entire world, entire samsara. And if you have any doubt, you should, this is a very beautiful thing given by Ishvara, that you should really see every night your ability to dream up things is just amazing. Dead people wake up in our dreams. I think I was telling you this, that one day I saw a letter from my dad. I just happened to see it after, I think it was written in 1991. I think he passed away in about 7-8 years later. But so this was a letter that I just happened to see. And that night I had a dream of my dad. I think I was telling you this. I think I'm a little vague now, but I remember he was knocking on the door. And I was a little impatient. Who's knocking? And then I opened the door and he says, oh, it's Papa. I used to call him Papa. And usually he would be lounging with his, with kurta pajama and with a shawl, and he was, because he was retired by the time I would go visit him again and again. But this time he was there with pant and coat and a tie. And I still remember the exact suit that he was wearing. It was a dark grey color suit in my dream. And I'm kind of impatient with him that why were you knocking at this time or something like this. And I noticed that I in the dream I was saying, how come he's wearing these suit? Where is he coming from? And this is my imagination. And this is a person who is no longer alive. I make him alive in my mind. And the Vedantic knowledge says, this is exactly what my view of the world is. I'm creating a vision of people and things and so on and so forth. Really, it is just due to Maya. And then when we do this meditation on verse number 1, Vishwam Pashyant Atmani Maya. Inside my own thing, I'm just creating this vision. So the Maya Shakti is a very impossible one, very difficult one to see, but it does it. And I do it. So he says, this is exactly what the first line says, that listen, these two things cannot be mixed up together, but we mix it. And in fact, this is the second line now. So he says, Tathapi anyonyasmin anyona atmakatam, and etc. I won't read it again. So here, and I think the more I see the Gambhirananda's ji's translation, the more I think this is a good one. Some of the words, like for example, For ignorance, he uses the word nescience. I don't know how to pronounce it, nescience. This used to be the old one. We don't use those words anymore, but it's not his fault. That was the vocabulary of the time. And so, without minor issues like that, his general translation is good. So here he says that, let's look at this on this verse, on this page number 1. So he says the tathapi. So the English translation of this sentence is, nevertheless, owing to an absence of discrimination between these attributes, as also between substances. So here the substances here is probably not the right word to use. Well, let me see. Let me finish it out. Yeah, substances means qualities. So anyonyasmin dharma. So this should be seen. What do you mean by quality? So this is what I think we went through last week, that instead of understanding whether I should buy a car or not, I'm immediately, and this is what the sales reps do, they're very clever, they start talking about the color of the car. This is called dharma. So instead of even focusing whether I am a living being or not, I am now completely involved in the type of living being that I am. You see, this is the thing. I've already crossed the border. I'm not even knocking on the main door. I've gotten inside, and now I'm lost because I'm completely covered by sukha dukkha. These are the qualities of the jiva. No, so you're saying, no. I don't doubt that I'm a jiva. That one I don't have any doubts on. The question is, what kind of a jiva am I? Am I a successful one? Am I going to be happy? Am I going to have a lot of problems? And this is where I'm wandering around. So this is what is called adhyasa with the dharma, the qualities, not the object itself. So his choice of the word substance is not correct. So you can say, nevertheless, owing to an absence of discrimination between these attributes, as also between qualities which are absolutely disparate, there continues to be a human behavior, a natural human behavior, based on self-identification in the form of I am this is mine. This is exactly what he says. So so you see, this is what Shankara is saying. Tathapi means nevertheless. Anyonyasmin anyon atmakatam. One thing having an adhyasa on the other one. Anyona dharmascha adhyasaha. He says that very clearly. The dharmas, not only the thing itself, but what kind of a thing it is. What is the color of it? Now I am completely ensnared. It's exactly like the case where you're going there and the sales rep has now successfully ensnared you. This is what kind of a color. This is very difficult. This color is very difficult to get. It's very difficult to get. I think I was telling you this. There was my wife's uncle. He's no more. And he, believe it or not, he didn't know, he was in New Delhi, and he was not a very educated person. I think he must have gone through college and so on, but not a professional engineer, lawyer or anything like that. He was a very rich man. Do you know where he made his money? By selling carpets door to door. when I got married, and I used to kind of look down upon, how can this person be doing this? Though one time he was talking to my wife and I, and he says, there are some tricks to selling that I found out very early on. And he was telling us, he says that, I still recall this, like 40, 50 years ago. He says, what I do is, I go on a bike. In those days, this is very old days when, maybe he had maybe he had a motorcycle or something. And he says, behind me, there was a rickshaw driven by my helper, and we had all these carpets rolled out on the rickshaw. And so I would go door to door and ask people, would you like to buy some Persian carpets? And so sooner or later some lady would say, yeah, let me show me what I have. And he says the trick was, where I was successful was, I would focus on the eyes of this lady. I'm talking and I'm doing this, but I never lose sight of where she's looking. And he says, inevitably, what will happen is, there is one carpet that her eyes will go back to again and again. She'll be looking at this and so on, then she'll go back to the original one. And sometimes she'll point out to her husband, I think, he says, my trick is done. Once I ascertain which of these carpets she likes, then when her questions comes up, I tell her, that carpet is a very popular carpet, and I think it has already been spoken for, and it happens to be a little bit more expensive than the other ones. So you've chosen something which I may not be able to give it to you, but all these games he plays. And he says, I am able to get another 30% on top of that, just because I am aware of where she... So similarly here also, the sales rep can ensnare you in sort of discussing what color of the car would you like. This is a very difficult color to get. It just came out this year and it's very popular. I don't know if I have it. I may have to find something. So now you are actually, instead of your original question on whether I should even get a car or not, is gone out of the way. You are now deeply involved in, this is what happens if somebody says that, no, this is very difficult to get. Then you want it even more. Exactly the same situation is there in our life, where we are so ensnared in how to be more successful, how to make more money, how to improve my health. Yeah, look at this improvement. So now you are, anytime there is a television show on plant-based food, even if you're a non-vegetarian, now these days or so, you've got to have these blueberries, berries color. So you're now looking at, we must do this. This is very important. My health, because health is very important for me. And so I need to look into all of that. You make notes and so on. While you're doing this, does it ever occur to you that, are you even the body or not? No. No. That is just for theoretical arguments, classes once in a while and so on. But yes, I'm very busy in improving my health. I'm very busy in doing better in the stock market. And I'm doing this is an important thing. So this is what is called adhyasa with the dharma. Anyway, so that's what the second line says. So the essence of the second line is that having made that mistake which was given in the first line, because you are now mixing up two impossible things. Like darkness and light can never be mixed up, but you're doing it. Having done so, now your life is full of the repercussions of that. You are now deep into dharma, qualities, good food, this, that, or the other. So this is what he says, if you look at it, this is what people do. Then, the second paragraph is this says, okay, you keep on using the word adhyasa. What is this adhyasa? So he says, aha koyam adhyasa nama iti. What is this? So this can be done either from someone who is not an opponent but a doubting person. Because saying, you've been using this word adhyasa, can you explain what does that mean? Or it could be a complete opponent who already knows that you are using some kind of a mechanism to justify Advaita Vedanta, and he doesn't agree with it, so he questions you. What is this adhyasa? Regardless of that, this is a question. So, ahakko yam adhyasa nama uchyate. Uchyate mean, okay, now that you're asking me, this is being said. I say it. Smriti rupaha paratra purva drishta avabhasaha. So he says smriti rupaha. So smriti rupaha, this smriti rupaha is an important point. This comes in the 6th verse of Dakshinamurti Stotra. Well, actually, let us look at that. It says, Rahu krasta divankarendu sadrisho maya samachadinat sanmatra skaranopasamharnato yo bhut sushuptaf puman pragaswapsamiti prabodha samaye yav pratyabhigyayate. This third line of this 6th mantra is reminiscent of it. We'll look into that when we do it. So smriti rupa, and so this also is the form of one of the favorite words of Swami Chinmayananji. When I started my studies with him, as you know, the very famous chart, the Om, and in there is V as a Vasana. And then you have the BMI, OET, all those charts underneath and so on, which is the expression, that is the world around you. But in between the Om and the expression is the word Vasana. So the Vasana is an important thing to, at that time I remember when I was listening to Swami Chinmayananji, it was not very clear to me how this is, although he tried his best to explain. But it took me a while to sort of get a grasp of it. And so this is also similar to or almost the same as prarabdha karma. We'll go into this in more detail. But what it means is that there is a continuity that keeps me from understanding the truth about myself. And this continuity is in the form of smriti rupa, vasana almost. You see, as a very simple example, when you get up in the morning, what thoughts appear to you and I? The thoughts relating to the previous day and days. What might have happened, and so on. Those are the ones that are now reappearing in your mind, keeping you preoccupied into a newer version of today, isn't it? So it's not as though you have a fresh start. There's no fresh start. In fact, even in the life, the beginning of the life itself, there is vasanas from the previous life. This is why this is a very beautiful thing to see, how Ishvara's creation is. Because if we look at a baby bird born, there is no mechanism for the parents of the baby to say, hey, you know what, you're a bird, you need to learn how to fly. And watch me. Here's what I do. And spread your wings. And do like this, the wings. And this will... No. It automatically flies. Why? Because the vasanas from the previous life. And our Acharya, Swami Dayananji, I think, or maybe Swami Chinmananda, I don't remember both, which one. They used to say, you know, sometimes there are questions. There are questions certainly from the Western side, many. You know, do you believe in transmigration of life? Do you believe in continuity and so on? And I think it was Swami Chinmananji used to say, you know, all you need to do is to observe the cry of a newborn baby. Just observe that. Then what? Why? How is that important? Who told the child to cry if it is uncomfortable? How did it discover that? Tell me. All of a sudden, the child starts crying when it is uncomfortable. It's a very beautiful thing to see, that when the child is either hungry or its diaper needs changing, it cries. Now, who told the child you should do this? Is it not obvious that it was done in the previous life? You already had some premonition. This is the beauty of the whole creation. The very structure of it, the very order of it. The order in the universe is something very important to see, because the whole thing is completely orderly. Because if there is a child born and the child is uncomfortable and he starts laughing, some children cry, some people laugh, that would create a problem in my understanding of the world. Order of the universe is, if you are uncomfortable, cry. If you are comfortable, laugh. If you are speaking the truth, it's wonderful. If you're not speaking the truth, it is not good. I don't, Swami Dayanand used to say that. He says, supposing there are three thieves, robbers, and they're not just thieves, they're killers also. And they don't mind robbing people and killing and walking away with their booties and so on. So supposing there are three robbers and they robbed somebody and they got a lot of money from a bank or something, and then they go, and if one of them finds that the other one is cheating him because of the counting of the money or so on, he says, don't you have any morals? You are cheating me? He is himself a biggest cheater of the world. He has robbed a bank and he's probably killed someone or threatened or something. But now he has a certain moral, wanting to be morally correct. that you cannot cheat. We agreed to it. It should be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and I see you taking more money. You cannot do that. Order of the universe. Nobody wants to be cheated. Even a robber doesn't want to be cheated. So all this comes from vasanas. So this is, I spend a lot of time on this, and I'm going to do this from time, so I hope you're not in a big rush. So when I see some explanation that appears to me, I will just pause and explain this. Oh my gosh, it's 9:16 already. Anyway, let me finish this paragraph. So, uchyate smriti rupaha paratta purva drishta avabhasaha. And then, in the next few sentences as part of this paragraph, which starts with tam kechit anyatra anyadharmas adhyasa hidi vadanti, kechit tu yatra yat adhyasaha tad viveka agraha nibandhanaha brahma iti, anye tu yatra yat adhyasa, etc., etc. So there, Adi Shankara gives certain interpretations of what adhyasa is from other people. Then he says, doesn't matter, there may be some shades of differences. And in fact, by the way, these shades of differences are very well explained by Swami Gambhirananda. Very well explained by Swami Gambhirananda in number 2. So he's gone through what are the other people saying. So if you have the time and the interest, under the notes on page number 2, and I won't go into all the details, Sankhyas and Yogas and all of those people, what they say about what Adhyasa is. But anyway, if you are interested, Gambhiranandji has done a very good job of explaining all of that. I won't do that. Then the ending of all this is Sarvatha apitu anyasya anya dharma avabhasatam na vyabhicharati. So Shankara says that doesn't matter what the individual interpretations are, but in all cases, taking something which is not the original form to be the form is adhyasa. So I think the definition that he uses, atasmin tadbuddhihi. Tadbuddhihi means that buddhi in something which is not there. So the very classical example of the snake and rope and snake. That really it should be seen as snake, but as rope, but the ropeness has gone into something completely different. So this is exactly our situation is that myself as the original Satyam Jnanam Anantam Vastu, that aspect has been transferred into my Jivatvam. So my Jiva has, and now that Jiva as an appliance borrows the Satyam Jnanam Anantam from the original and transforms it and gets me all involved with it. This is the situation. So anyway, we did a little bit more progress on that, and I think I might do a little bit more on this before we, I think we'll have more time next week, so we won't do meditation, and we will finish maybe a few more sentences of this, and I think next week we will begin the first verse of the Brahma Sutra itself. So with that, let me do the remaining prayers, and then we will close the class. Om Rahu Grasta Divankarendu Sadisho Maya Samachadinat Sanmatra Karanopasamharanato. यो भूत् सुषुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्समिति प्रबोधसमये यप्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। बाल्यादिषु अपि जाग्रदादिषु तथा सर्वास्वस्थास्वपि व्यावृत्तास्वनुवर्तमानमहमित्यन्तःस्फुरन्तं सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजतां यो मुद्रया भद्रया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया सस्वामी सम्बन्धतः शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव पुत्रात्यात्मना भेदतः स्वप्ने जाग्रतवाय एष पुरुषो माया परिभ्रामितः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। भूरम्भांस्य नलो नीलोऽम्बर्महर्णार्थो हिमांशुः पुमान् इत्याभाति चराचरात्मकमिदं यस्यैव मूर्त्यष्टकम् नान्यत् किञ्चिन विद्यते विमृशतां यस्मात् परस्मात् विभोः तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। सर्वात्मत्वमिति स्फुटीकृतमिदं यस्मात्तमिष्मिंस्तवे तेनास्य श्रवणात् तदर्थमननात् ध्यानात् संकीर्तनात् सर्वात्मत्वमहाविभूतिसहितं स्यादीश्वरत्वं स्वतः सिद्ध्येतत् पुनरष्टधा परिणतं चैश्वर्यमव्याहतम्। अशुभानि निराचष्टे तनोति शुभसन्ततिं स्मृतिमात्रेण यत्पुंसां ब्रह्म तन्मङ्गलं परम् अतिकल्याणरूपत्वात् नित्यकल्याणसंश्रयात् स्मर्तॄणां वरदत्वात् च ब्रह्म तन्मङ्गलं विदुः। ओङ्कारश्चाथ शब्दश्च द्वावेतौ ब्रह्मणः पुरा कण्ठं भित्त्वा विनिर्यातौ तस्मात् माङ्गलिकौ उभौ ओमथ ओमथ ओमथ। वरदत्वात् च ब्रह्म तन्मङ्गलं विदुः। ओङ्कारश्चाथ श्नायते तस्मै। Alright, let's see if you have any things, questions. Ashish Mudgil says Swami Chinmayanandaji's explanation of the vasanas through the BMI chart. Yes, yes, I'm referring to the same one. That's why I got started back in 73. Nice to see you all in the class, and don't see any questions. So I'll wait for another minute or so in case you have any. Otherwise, we will look forward to seeing you next week. Kirsten, I got your email and I will reply to it as soon as I have some time. So I do have some things to suggest for you, and I will do so. So nice to see you all of you together. Wonderful. Okay, good. We'll see you next week. Om.